Community Matters.
Hello and welcome to Many Voices, One Community, stories across Long Island and beyond. I'm Gaitley Stevenson-Mathews. I'm so very pleased to serve as the Community Engagement Officer here at the Holocaust Center. And what a great treat for me to be the host of this podcast, and a wonderful treat to have my good friend Dr. Harris here today, who is the Executive Director of SAFE. And Dr. Harris, I'll let you chat a little bit about SAFE and share with how it impacts our community in such an incredible way. But I wanted to start, if you don't mind, I'd like to just hop in a little bit. We were visiting a little bit earlier, and as I understand, your family or you moved here. I assume you were with someone at age 1 from the Bronx, is that right?
Yes.
And so how does this little girl who moves to Long Island from the Bronx at age 1, how does she grow to be in the position you were in at SAFE and making such an impact on the community?
I have to credit my parents and my grandmother for that. When they relocated to Long Island, and I grew up in a very lovely community, my family always made it be known that even though we didn't come from privilege, we were privileged to be privileged.
I love that. I love that. I love that. Well, I oftentimes think about, they refer to class, a certain class. And I've got a good buddy who says the same thing. Class has nothing to do with money. Class has to do with what you bring to the equation and how you serve the community and how you approach life.
Right.
That you are someone, you have someone to bring. I've often heard, whether it's in a sermon or there's a good friend who is a pastor who likes to say, there are no goofs. We are in this all world. We all, and whatever the faith, whatever the background, if you're lucky, you come from a family such as you have described, with strong people and strong women. My grandmother was also, she was like Annie Gaitley. She was my mentor in many ways growing up.
Sure.
And such.
Mine as well.
So you moved to Long Island. Siblings?
No.
No, just you. So only child. All right. I was going to say that explains a lot, but growing up on Long Island, and I know Dr. Harris, you master's, PhD, lots of training, and also I know a little bit about your background in the community as far as how it's empowered you to make a difference. So take us a little bit through that journey. Sure. To get to where you are today.
Okay. Well, I had started working at the organization back in, I would say, 1993. That was shortly after I had done an internship while pursuing my master's. And unlike the usual structure of a doctoral program or a master's program where they have you engage in the clinical venue, I was fortunate to have the leeway to pursue social psychology and social change avenues. So working for that organization really was critical because it fulfilled my need to help others in need, which was what my family ingrained in me. Always remember your roots, help your fellow man, help those that can't help themselves. So it was a very good fit. I consider myself extremely fortunate because at that time there were other students who were miserable in their placements, and I just flourished there. I loved it.
Right, and I will say how beautiful. It doesn't always happen that an organization and the matching of the leadership of an organization are such that they both grow and they both prosper. And certainly here on the North Shore of Long Island and in Glen Cove specifically, it's been a magnificent marriage for that organization and consequently for our community. I think I certainly knew you back in the day when I was a council member in Glen Cove, but that is when I first I think the first I got to know you was there was a non-smoking initiative that you all were very much involved with. And as I may have mentioned to you, my mother was a public health nurse and also come from a background of the importance of serving the community. And certainly I'm honored to be the community engagement officer here and could not feel more motivated in serving. But how, as you've grown with that organization, how has your background and your training and just the boots on the ground kind of work, knowing the community, how has all of that made it possible for you to do the kind of things that you're able to do in the community? And mention a few of those things.
Well, I honestly can't take credit for the agency's success because I happen to have the most spectacular board of directors. We also have a community-based coalition of over 20 members of all sectors of the community, and I happen to have outstanding staff.
Right.
They teach me something every day.
Right. Yeah, I think in some ways, I mean, it's that old, yes, as a teacher or as a leader, you learn by speaking, but you learn so much by listening. And,
absolutely.
And I certainly know Georgie Cannett, who is what is her position? I know she's on your board. Is that correct?
She is our board chair.
Yeah, okay, she's your board chair.
Strategic planner and grant writer.
Oh, yes, and she's, I know Georgie, of course, also from the North Shore Historical Museum. She's involved in so many things.
Absolutely.
And, again, when you're in an administrative position or an executive position, especially, what a big thing it is to have a board that is behind you, correct?
I have a spectacular board. Like I said, I got really lucky.
Right. So I know certainly off the top of my head, I know about the Shed the Meds program that you guys are always a part of. To me, part of the success of any organization is combining with others. I know you all do that with the Glen Cove Police Department.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
What a great, I have a family member who years ago, they were having work done in the house. People were in and out of the house, there were pain medication, from when someone had hip surgery, and sadly, those medications went missing. And it was months later that they noticed. Months later, because oftentimes, and it's. If you're not conscientious about it, or you get busy with your lives, you don't, you have a plumber come in, or people come and work on the house, or any number, or your teenage kids, you know their friends, but maybe there's one new person who you don't know so much, and it's so easily, but just getting them out of the house. If there are medications that aren't being used, getting them out of the house, getting them disposed of properly so that they don't enter the market where it's going to harm someone. But what a giant program you all do with that. What other kind of programs do you all do through SAFE, and what communities do they serve?
Okay, well, SAFE serves the entire Glen Cove community. We provide services and programs throughout the year. At school, we sponsor Red Ribbon Week every year. We celebrate.
So tell me a little bit about Red Ribbon Week. What is that?
Okay, so Red Ribbon Week was started many, many years ago as a drug awareness event. And SAFE took it on with the help and support of our board, and every year the police department and SAFE staff, SAFE board, the school district, we all come together for an entire week of celebrating healthy choices, living drug-free. The students do a beautiful artwork every year around whatever the Red Ribbon Week theme is for that year. So they would, let's say the theme is proud to be drug-free, and they would conceptualize in their minds what that would look like in terms of artwork.
Right.
The art teachers, the principals, everybody gets involved. It's like a whole celebratory week, and it's terrific. The students put everything into the artwork. The Safe Board judges the artwork. We go into the schools and we give the kids, every kid gets something, and plus we have first, second, and third place winners for each grade.
Beautiful.
The police department comes in. They talk about making healthy choices. So it's a wonderful week. So we start off the school year with Red Ribbon Week, and then we just segue through with tobacco awareness, Great American Smokeout. We do a lot through the middle school and high school with National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week.
Right.
So all year there's something going on. The police department always assists with their prom presentations, and they talk about underage binge drinking. They also talk about social host law, which is something that our coalition implemented many years ago, and then it was picked up by Nassau County.
Yeah, and I will say, I of course know Chief Whitten. In fact, he's on my list. He's getting a phone call. I'm hoping to have him on at some point. But certainly our Glen Cove Police Department is so present in the schools and on an ongoing basis. You know, sadly, in some communities, when there's problems, that's when your police and your law enforcement show up. But in Glen Cove, and it's certainly true of other communities too, but we're so fortunate here that on an ongoing basis, there are officers in the school.
Yes.
It's not an intimidation factor. You know, that they know each other. They know who the police officers are. And the fact that you all SAFE, and share with people, I know all these things just because I know you, but now what does SAFE exactly stand for? What do the
It stands for
letters?
Substance Abuse Free Environment.
Okay, substance abuse free environment. Okay.
We're a not-for-profit.
Right.
And all of our services and programs are free to the community.
Right. And I'll say, as I mentioned with combining with the police department, combining with our school system, which, you know, I feel like we have such a great school here in Glen Cove, not only on the academics, but also the creative end, and certainly new leadership that's just doing, you know, amazing jobs. And, you know, to my heart, I think about our chorus, you know, so talented. But the fact that you all are in there, and I will tell you, I've been working with Janet Lust Gaines. We have an exhibition here, Lawrence High School. She's a teacher there, and she created art. But she also included her students in this exhibition, and then they had Holocaust survivors come into the school and speak to the students. And based on those stories they heard, they created art. So in some ways, you know, you think in terms, and I'm thinking about the Red Ribbon Project. Is that correct? What it's called?
Ribbon Week, yes.
Red Ribbon Week. You know, in some ways, think, oh well, you're doing art, you're doing things, but the conversations that happen when you're just tracing a line or you're drawing the outline of what you're creating, whatever the theme, and you're sitting beside a police officer or you're sitting beside someone, you know, someone from your organization or a social worker, and you're talking about why this is important. I feel like it's the same way I feel about the arts.
Yes.
Oftentimes, you create an environment where those kind of things can seep in. So it's not, okay, we're here today, we need you to learn these lessons. Boom, 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 boom.
Well, that's exactly right, Gaitley, because what we try to do is to foster and develop long-term behavioral change.
That's it, isn't it?
One-hit wonders is not going to work. But like you said, we have such a dedicated school district, police department, mayoral administration, all the members of the interagency council. Glen Cove is a very special place.
I agree. Yes, I agree. And thinking of interagency council and thinking of the many different organizations and combining with the organizations, I see you across the table many times at events and also at the North Shore Historical Museum, just for a little culture that's good for all of us and learning. What would you say today? You know, I feel like we have so many things in our schools. You know, certainly you and I did growing up. I'm a little older than you, but you and I had it growing up. but certainly on our minds here at the Holocaust Center with the rise of anti-Semitism in the world today, the somehow empowering people that it's okay to hate or okay to single out people, that somehow that's okay, and fighting against that. There aspects of what you all do that impacts that as well?
I don't think directly.
Okay. So as far as the community, as far as SAFE and what you guys do, combating substance abuse, I know there are a lot of things you guys do in the schools, but what other things do you guys do? Are there any communities? Do you have outreach to our Hispanic community or other organizations or groups?
We do. I am very, very fortunate that I happen to have 4 bilingual outreach workers at SAFE.
I think I know one of those. Is one of them Brenda?
Yes.
Brenda Lopez,
Brenda
who I
Lopez.
adore, who I also know her mom, who
Yes,
was Pastor Lopez.
Yep.
Yeah.
We have Meryl Mendez, who grew up in Glen Cove.
Okay, sure.
We have my beloved Mrs. Laurent Caballero, who is a retired teacher's aide from the school district who started working for SAFE 20 years ago.
Wow.
And we have Monica Salinas, who used to be one of our life skills training students, who now teaches life skills training at the elementary and middle school.
Isn't that beautiful?
It's beautiful.
Yes.
I am so lucky that I have this wonderful group to work with and learn from.
Right, certainly.
And in terms of your question regarding the racism, not at SAFE. I think the fact that we serve everyone, everyone's the same, everyone's in need.
Right.
So there really is none of that to be addressed. But we do have boots on the ground, community outreach. We help many individuals who have assimilated but not acculturated here. Right. And with the help of the Interagency Council and all of our community partners, we're actually able to get them the bare basics. We're talking about all the food pantries,
right,
clothing, assistance in applying for school, registering, joining them and participating in CSE or CPSE meetings, trying to empower parents whose primary language is not English to understand what's happening and going on with their kids. We have a life skills training parent classes. We bring in the police department. They talk about social host law, social hosting, drug and alcohol trends to identify in the students and what's happening in the community.
Right.
So we've become an all-inclusive resource for various and sundry things. Since January, we've done 2 free immigration awareness nights.
Wow.
We've had very good fortune to know a couple of local attorneys who sat down with our parents at Brenda's church, just to allay fears and give some basic instructions as to what to do. But we are constantly encountering people in need every day, and in addition to the basics, they also are in need of alcohol and substance abuse treatment. And
I will say,
all sorts of things.
As you know, the program is Many Voices, One Community.
Right.
I think it should be a slogan. I love that. Not here at SAFE. Not here at SAFE. We don't have the problems here at SAFE because everybody is a part of it. Everybody gets the same opportunity.
Very true.
Nobody is turned. And I do think that takes being proactive. I think it takes having an ear to the full community and how you do that, and the fact that you do have bilingual people on your staff. And, I know some of those names, and certainly know Pastor Lopez and Iglesia Ciudad de Refugio, certainly a wonderful community that serves our community in a giant way. But combining with churches and synagogues and our other houses of worship and schools and community at large is just giant, just giant.
It is.
What other things would you say are important? Let's say somebody is just tuning into this podcast and they want to learn more about SAFE and perhaps how they can be supportive, or let's say they have a need in the community, what else might that person need to know about SAFE?
Well, I think that they should know that it's a quote unquote, pardon, play on words, it's a safe place to be.
Right.
We're at City Hall. We've been there for a very long time. But we welcome everyone, and we try to help everyone to the best of our ability. And if we can't, that's the beauty of our community partnership.
Right.
If we can't assist you with X, Y, and Z, we know somebody in this town is going to be able to help you with that.
You know, I will say, and again, when I was a council member, as you know, I'm very proud to be a founding member of NOSH and make deliveries every Thursday. As you know, oftentimes it's so much bigger than just delivering food, because you get to know the families. And, I might hear of a substance abuse issue, or I may hear of something else going on, that this is where I think of you, because there have been situations to where I haven't known where to turn or who to go to. And either you directly, or if I call City Hall, the City Hall's answer is call SAFE, talk to Dr. Harris, and exactly what you said over and over in this community. I hear, if they can't help, they will find a way and get me to someone. And I will say, from my perspective, and knowing you, and knowing Georgie Cannett, certainly the others who are involved with you, you can look at a mission statement, and I do this. I try to do my research before I chat, and of an organization. And that's important. It's so very important. But what has to happen is you have to live it, and you have to be proactive in making it happen. And I will say, Dr. Harris, at every turn I see that happening with you. I see that with your organization, and I see the impact it makes on our community in such a positive way.
Thank you.
I thank you for that. And I thank you for being my guest. Is there anything else you want to share before we sign off here?
Check out our website. We have a beautiful website,
Okay.
safeglencove.org.
So that's safeglencove.org for more information. And there's a phone number if they go to that website. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, and again, if you think you might have challenges or have a family member and just have concerns, reach out to SAFE, reach out to Dr. Harris. And let me say, as a Many Voices, One Community, you certainly exemplify all of that. And we are so pleased that you are here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So pleased. So that's it for this episode of Many Voices, One Community. I'm Gaitley Stevenson-Mathews. Please look for our other mini podcasts on HMTV, HMTC at HMTV. The website is hmtcli.org/HMTV. Thank you so very much. Everybody have a great week. Thank you.